Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today we have a health expert with us, Beth Mielbrecht. Did I say it right? Okay. Yes. And Beth is super awesome. She is a health detective. She has some certifications in Reiki and also in bioenergetic testing, which is something I have never even heard of. So I'm super excited to dive into that little bit of space that you are proficient in. But welcome, Beth, and thank you for joining us today. I'm really looking forward to having a conversation.
Thank you, Clarissa. I'm so happy to be here too. And it's true, there aren't too many health detectives, and bioenergetics it's around, but it's not that popular. So I'm happy to get into it with you.
Yeah, no, that's cool. We've never had a health detective on the show, so this is like a first for us, super exciting. So I am curious, how did you get into this? Well, it's a super specific space that you're in.
Yes. Well, it found me. I am a mechanical engineer and I love process. I love data. I love solving problems. And I've always been the healthiest person I know. And I really wanted to have more people in my life who are healthy, who had just amazing, vibrant health, physical, emotional, digestive. And some people are seekers and they're always looking for what can serve them on the path to health. And that's me. And when I found bioenergetic testing, it was offered to me by a naturopath in North Carolina, and she did it remotely. And I was amazed at how accurate it was. And then when she gave me the remedy that was specific and customized to me, my already good energy even up leveled even more. And so I needed to know more. And then I ended up buying the equipment, it's lab grade test equipment. And I just started trying it out on my family, on my friends, my college girlfriends, everyone. And I was seeing results that others who use this do, which is people who have pains, anxiety, aches, and just things that everyone has told them that it's just normal, that happens when you get older, it's just stress. They were being resolved. And I knew I needed to bring this to the world because it was something that made sense to me from a physical level as well as an energetic level. And so that's how I came to do this. But I do bring a very practical, grounded engineering mind with it. It's really about working with the physicality of your body as well as the energetics of your body. So I'm using both of those together.
No, that is really cool. So, bioenergenetics, that is, you mentioned that the practitioner you met did it online, so it's not something that you have to be like physically present for. Well, I mean, computer, but like you don't have to be in the same room with a person.
That is correct. I work with all my clients remotely. And when I do the testing, it's using modern physics. So we live in an electric world. We can connect to one another. It's it's pretty amazing, but I need identifying information. So when this started, probably about over 100 years ago, people were in person and people were holding little copper electrodes and they were using points on the skin matching the Chinese meridian points, things like that. But as digital technology and electrical engineering advanced, with identifying information, I'm able to connect to you and do the testing. So that is how it works. That's how it worked for me. It was pretty amazing. When I had that session done, she asked me, "Do you have a problem with your right knee?" And I said, "Well, no, my knees are fine. But I ran track in high school and I twisted my knee. I had a knee injury in high school." She says, well, that's still getting healed right now. amazing. Like, how could she find that? And, I know, and then I began to think about it. I don't have as much flexibility. But then after I began taking the remedies, which are custom imprinted balancing remedies, my knee began feeling even better. And then I realized, oh, you're right. I did have some restriction. I just hadn't noticed it. And now both knees are absolutely identically strong and the same. And so when I do this work remotely with clients, the number one thing I hear is, how did you know this? This is so accurate. And it's because it's connecting directly to your innate intelligence.
Mm.
And it's not asking your thinking brain, it's asking the part of you that knows how to digest your food and how to breathe and how to move your blood cells around. That's how we get the more accurate answers.
Right. No, that's so true. And that's like a whole nother fascinating discussion, right? Like how our body just does so many things automatically without us thinking about it or knowing about it. But honestly, it's interesting because the processes that the body goes through and does without us thinking about it are the most accurate data points in the whole body because they're not influenced by your brain, which is totally subjective.
Exactly. Yes. And, a lot of people come to me and they say, well, here are all my blood tests and here's all my imaging. And blood tests are great, but they're lagging indicators. I mean, things have been around for a while. Changes have already happened biochemically. Wouldn't you like to change things and fix things before you got out of balance, when things were just starting to need help? And imaging is great, but people get caught up in it and they say, I have this thing.
Yeah.
Look, and they show it to me. Well, no, you're actually a whole person, and your body's always trying to heal.
Mhm.
And let's work from there. So then the fear kicks in. So all of these modalities, traditional and alternative, are great as long as you remember that you can heal. And that's why I love bioenergetics, because there's always trust that your body is doing the right thing. You just might not know why. It's sending up symptoms, and those are just signals
Right.
and messages.
Right. That's so true. And you made an interesting point too, that your body is trying to heal. The healing process can go on for an incredibly long time. And how well the body heals depends a lot on what we put into it. Like if we're not fueling it properly, we're not giving it the nutrients it needs, it's going to have a harder time healing. And then I think you're going to see, like you said, those symptoms that, hey, something's wrong.
Right, right. Yes, my three steps for optimal health are: you need to take in good nutrients. I know that's a main focus of your work, is really the quality and whole food that you take in is super important. And you got to get the garbage out. So whatever diet, whatever you eat, there's a box or a package that is possible that will say, hey, you try this, and it can seem so tempting. Got to keep that stuff out. And then there's socially acceptable behaviors that really, they're just like microdosing poison. You really don't need that. And it's sometimes hard. And then the third thing is, we need to be cleansing and detoxing all the time. Our world is not as clean as it used to be. The air is not as clean, the water is not as clean. So even eating all the right things, it's still important to take cleansing practices like sweating or exercise, regular elimination. All of
Mhm.
those things contribute to healing.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Regular elimination is so most women don't even know what that is. They're like, well, once every 4 days. That's not normal. I don't care if your doctor said it's normal. And like, oh my gosh, think about all the toxins that are just sitting there and the old hormones that are getting reabsorbed. Holy smokes, no wonder you don't feel good.
Exactly. Yes, yes. You don't want that being reabsorbed. Yes. So taking care of your lymph system and your liver, I think you and I are beating the drum for that, is you can do so much to care for your body in more ways than you know. without doing anything crazy. There's really simple ways to heal. And by time people come to me, usually it's because they've tried other things, they've done the specialist circuit, and now, well, I guess I'll try this because nothing else is left. Wouldn't it be nice if you started this path before you got to a crisis?
Yes, I know. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it happens that often, though.
Yeah,
I think I think it's
yeah.
just the way that society is probably.
People need a wake-up call sometimes. And that is one of those things is your health is something that is your most important investment. It is
Yes.
critical for how you think, how you show up in the world, how you take care of your family. If you've got kids, if you've got parents, they're both asking for your attention, and then you're going to go to work and you've got some goals at work. Yeah, if you've got aches, pains, or you're not thinking clearly, um, you really can't afford to put off focusing on health.
Right. No, that's such a good point because we do, I think, at this stage of the game, have so many demands. There's the work demand that I mean, obviously that's something that's not going away, but you have your children. A lot of us are taking care of our parents, and there's just not, that much focus placed on our own health. And then we get into those places where people are coming into you and they're like, hey, I've tried all this other stuff, or maybe you are their first stop, but they've let whatever the issue is go on for so long by simply lack of self-care. And I think a lot of people get tied up in thinking that self-care has to be all of these practices and cost so much money when that's really not the case. I think very basic self-care is, having respect for yourself is as far as what you are putting into your body, as far as your food and your water. That's pretty basic and is really, really overlooked.
Yes, yes, very true. There are so many demands, and really health happens on a daily basis. It's not that once a year detox where, okay, I'm going to make up for everything I've eaten and drank on this big vacation or the holidays. No, it's something that you do every day in the herbs you choose to put in your food. The how, do you
Hmm.
are you what do you drink? Is it caffeinated? Are you using herbal teas? Even simple things like that are very helpful in helping the body stay regulated. Nobody needs another list of things to do. People don't need more to do, but it's about reframing what you're already doing and making better choices.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, One of my mentors a long time ago said, you coach the low-hanging fruit. So something that you're already doing, something that's not going to increase the stress. Um, for a lot of people, if we are adding on something, we stack it onto something else they're already doing so that it's not such a big drastic change. And I think that area is a space where people get hung up a lot too, is thinking that they need to have these long, complicated processes that are, well, they just make everything so hard and then they fail because they're hard.
That's right. That's right. Whether you're starting a new exercise routine, whether you decided you're really going to pick up some weights now and really you might have to let something go. Like you might not have room for everything. You only have so many priorities. And working with you or with me or any one of the so many wonderful practitioners, you can get an assessment of what is your focus area. Sometimes you might need to remineralize and add better food into your body first before you place more demands on it, because you have a hard time building muscle if you don't have the resources to build it with, or if your drainage system, your lymph and elimination, if that's backed up, that it makes everything else so much harder. So sometimes there can be an on ramp that makes sense for each person.
Right, right. Yeah. Then an on-ramp with little steps. I love that. I think that's so,
Yes.
so appropriate. Um, so with your energetic testing. So you do that. Sorry, you said something a little bit ago and it triggered a thought. Um, you said that once someone goes through the testing, that then you have specific supplement. Is it supplementation? Are you using like supplements? Are you using Chinese herbs? Are you using all of that? Like, what does that look like for someone?
Sure. Right. After I do the testing, I ask thousands of questions and get answers. Nobody needs a list of problems. Once we find out, hey, we've got these things that are out of balance. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, yeah, big surprise. I knew that. Now what? Uh, so with why I love bioenergetic testing is that it also gives me the balancing remedies. So I'm basically making a personalized, customized homeopathic remedy.
Ah,
So I imprint it with my equipment
mhm.
into a bottle of drops and little patches. The drops are 92% structured water and 8% organic cane sugar alcohol because we need that carbon bond that's in the alcohol to hold the imprint. And the patches are fabric with adhesive, and then they have a little bit of carbonized titanium. And again, that metal is what holds the imprint. It's just like if you have a ring from your mother or your grandmother, and every time you see it or put it on, you're like, oh, yeah, it just reminds me of her. That's the same thing. So metal things will hold on to an energetic imprint more. And my equipment, I take all of the things that I need to balance for you. And just like I'm sending um, a photo or a video on my phone to you, I can send it from my computer to the drops that I put on the test plate and the patches, and then that'll have it for you. So if you've ever taken a homeopathic tincture or or the little pellets, you know that that is all energy. There is no physical material of that. Also a homeopath myself, but this gets really specific and customized just for you. And then there, I can put lots of things in there. When you take a homeopathic, there's, it could be just one
Mhm.
remedy, or it could be a combination that has a few in there, but this is different and it's customized specifically for you with what we found in the testing.
Right, right. Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. So I was wondering, like, how do you make a remedy? There's like so many things available, but if you're working specifically, which is homeopathics, then that you can really dial it in.
And sometimes I'm giving you the information to get rid of a toxin.
Okay.
So sometimes what usually comes up when I do testing is that there's nutritional deficiencies. There could be environmental toxins. It could be food sensitivities. There could be emotional support needed. And you might need an emotional support of an essential oil, or emotional support from a Bach flower essence, or emotional support from a crystal. And I tell you what those are, but the imprint of that is in the remedy. Sometimes uh, you might need to signature for some amino acids. And our bodies have a great recycling system. And so those amino acids are there, but just the process of working with them is failing a little bit. And
Mhm.
your body's saying, I need a little help here. And so the energetic is what is needed. Occasionally, I get something that comes up and the parameter is in such a value that it tells me that you need it in physical form. So in that case, it might be like, it's time for omega-3s in physical form, or magnesium you need. And then I'll check, do you need oral? Do you need topical? Because magnesium lotion is fantastic, or bath or something like that. And I get really specific of what is going to work. But once in a while, yeah, you do need physical supplementation, and then I will state what that is. If you can't get it from food,
Mhm.
yep, I know some people love supplements, some people don't want to take any supplements. The fact of the matter is the soil is deficient, so the food grown in the soil is deficient. If you're eating animals, the animals that eat the grass are deficient. So it's all around, no matter what you're eating, it can be a challenge to get everything you need.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. And that's without, our horrible environment that's full of so many contaminants and makes it so much harder to, allow your body to absorb nutrients like it should.
Right, right. Yeah, it is very true. So one of the things I do is test people's supplements. I've had clients come to me with, they must have baskets or cabinets full of supplements. Like,
Right,
these are everything I'm taking. Wow. Okay, let's go through and see if you really need them,
right,
because it might sound like a good idea. The advertising or the packaging might be like, wow, I really need this, but it's not true, and you might have only needed it for a couple weeks or a month.
right,
We're not meant to take supplements every day, same thing, no breaks for years on end, and just keep adding to it. That can be difficult for our body to process as well. So I'll test to see, is it is it working for you, or is it going to help with something that's going on or not? And then, sometimes people end up saving a bunch of money because they can stop buying a few supplements
true,
and just check back in a couple months to see if it's still working right and if something else is needed.
right. No, that's amazing. How do you test to see if someone needs the supplements? Is it another like energy test?
I I do it. I make specific custom tests. So I have the exact brand and what it is and the dosage.
Hmm.
And it's like, the question is literally, is this beneficial? Is this going to support
Okay,
a causal issue? Or is it just for maintenance? Or is there complete resonance and your body is saying no? And then if it is good, well, what is the dosage? I never go higher than the manufacturer's recommendation, but some people don't even need that high, they only
right,
need one capsule instead of four or something like that. You don't want to overdo it.
right. No, I think there are a lot of supplements for sure that come overdosed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just how they're sold for whatever reason. But that's cool that you can tell if a person actually needs whatever it is that they're taking. Because yeah, no, the whole I'm taking this, and I literally look at like 2 pages, like notebook pages of supplements, and I'm like, holy cow, are you sure you need to take all those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Where is it coming? It should come from your food first
Right.
and then
Yes.
supplement
Yes.
when yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. A supplement is a supplement, which is exactly that. It is supposed to supplement what you're already doing, not try to be a band-aid for something. I think that there can be a tendency with supplements sometimes to almost get over into that whole like pharmaceutical area, like, oh, this is going to fix this, and this is going to make this other thing better. And maybe they do, but you're right, it shouldn't have to be something that you take every day for the rest of your life.
That's right. Right. That is true. Yeah. Otherwise, we just get into pattern recognition, and
Mm.
pattern says, oh, well, if you are feeling this way, clearly you need this herb or this.
Mhm.
That Does that work for you? I don't know. It does. It might
Right.
not be right. So we should test. We should find out. And
Mhm.
really, these are things that, these are questions that people can learn to do for themselves. Can I share
Mhm.
with you and your audience about how to try and do this yourself?
Oh, yeah, sure. I would love that.
Great, great. So one thing to do is get really clear on tuning into your own self. I mean,
Mm.
I love working with people, but I can't work with everyone in the world. So if you learn to listen to your own body, the first thing is to say the word yes or your name, and you should feel a slight leaning forward or draw that that's a yes. Like your body is saying, yes,
Mhm.
yes, I'm moving forward, or yes, my name is Beth and I'm moving forward. And what is a no? And a no, or you could say, my name is something else, Bobby. And right now we're on video and I'm kind of leaning back and forth kind of dramatically. So, and it's not that dramatic. It's subtle. But there's a sense of leaning forward for yes and moving back for no. So here's what I want you to do is when you go back into your kitchen or your bathroom or wherever you keep your supplements, pick one of them up and hold it in your hand and ask, is this right for me today?
Mhm.
And notice, do you get a yes or a no?
Mhm.
The next time you're at the grocery store and you're looking at all the vegetables, pick up the broccoli or the bok choy or the carrots and say, ask yourself, is this what I need to eat tonight or tomorrow? Is this good for me right now? You might be surprised. Like, oh yeah, I definitely want the bok choy, not the carrots. You instead of mindlessly, the recipe says carrots, I must get carrots. Maybe think about, what is your body asking for?
Mhm.
And then the third one you could try is, probably no one listening to this podcast does this, but then the next time you have your Starbucks or your Coca-Cola or your Pinot Grigio, and that's in your hand, say, is this good for me right now?
Uh,
Just notice. And then you start tuning into how to make choices that are right for you. And you can apply this to everything, not just food and supplements. But
right.
that's one way to start tapping into that same innate intelligence that's digesting your food and moving your blood cells and keeping you breathing. And it's also what I use. I just do it digitally and super fast with thousands of questions and getting and recording the answers very quickly.
Mhm.
So, but you can always do this in the here and now with yourself.
Right. No, that is so cool. I think that's some super valuable information for our listeners for sure. So if someone, like, if they have never done this before, and they're not used to like being in tune with their body or listening to, like, the intuition or how their body's feeling in general, that's a big stumbling block in the area I work in. What are like what is the easiest way for them to be able to to shut out the noise so that they can tune in and even notice if their body is moving?
Right. We are a body. We are not just a brain on a skeleton. We're more than just up here in our head. So, after your workout is done, just sit for a moment. Feel your heart. Feel, where's the tingling? Where's that blood moving around? Is there sweat? What does that sweat feel like? Did you do you have an ache in one of your muscles because you really went to your limit? Can you feel that? Put your finger on it. Where do you feel that? Um, Take a deep breath and then just notice. And after you've done that for a minute, move on with your day and do it again. Just keep
Yeah.
noticing your body, because we think about everything. And so we think, okay, I finished that workout. Next step is to get changed. Next step is to move on to the next thing I have to do. What if you were just present with your amazing body, and notice what you could feel? Oh, I feel a little tightness in my neck right now. I'm just going to move my neck around. It doesn't need to be a whole meditation, or gosh, I struggle with meditation myself. It doesn't need to be a whole process. It's just noticing and noticing the sensations in your body. And I find when I've finished working out or I've gone on a hike, that's when I can notice it the most, because I'm so happy. I feel amazing afterwards, that it's such a pleasure. I want to soak in it. Like, I really want to remember these feelings of accomplishment, of strength, of vitality. And then I get to notice how it feels my body. So the next time I do it, I have feedback. Like, oh, I know how that feels. I can choose something different. I could go harder, or maybe I know I need to back off. But it's all great feedback. And then you start developing that sense of what your body wants, because it's not going to be your brain. Your brain is going to give you all kinds of noise.
Hmm.
It's very helpful sometimes, but not for this practice. It's all in your body.
Right. So that sounds to me kind of like a mindfulness practice, but inside of your body. Which,
Right, right. A
yeah, which
bodyfulness
personally,
practice.
yeah, no, I love it because I also struggle with meditation, but mindfulness practices have really helped me tremendously with reducing stress and managing stress. And it doesn't have to be anything long, like you're saying, but it really does help to put you in tune with your body. So if you're doing one that's like just focused on your body, I don't know why I never thought about that. Um, that is amazing and would really help to put someone, much better in touch with their body.
Yes. Yes. And then you start noticing the symptoms and you start noticing, when did that start? Oh, it started because I did this thing, or I had this thought, or I got this phone call. And then that's when it started. It wasn't even a physical thing after all. It was something else. You
Right,
never know what pieces you will get to put together.
right. No, absolutely. And I think, if we can ever zoom out and look at the whole picture, which we all struggle with doing, it's all connected. It's all connected. Everything, every choice, every decision. Like you said, a phone call can have a huge impact. So it doesn't even have to be anything that like you did or you didn't do, but still it was something that occurred.
It's all in our body.
Yes.
Everything we've ever experienced, everything we've ever eaten or watched or listened to, or choices we made, it's some were good, some were not so good. They're all in there. And if we haven't processed it, because life moves so fast, we don't have time, then it's still there waiting, like, hey, what about me?
Right.
So with bioenergetics, I'm working with physical and emotional, because to me, you can't separate them. You don't need to go to a specialist for one thing, or a specialist for a body part. No, it's all connected, and they're all good. They all have their place, but
Mhm.
sometimes we can get too specialized with not seeing the whole body as working together, and emotions and our mental state, it feeds
Mhm.
right into it.
Oh yes, 1000%. So managing both sides, I think, is vital to achieving any kind of health improvement. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your time today. This has been a fascinating conversation. I think that our listeners are going to find that little practice, of tuning into your body and determining if things are beneficial for you or not, very helpful. I think that's something that's very helpful that you can walk away with right now. Um, Say that someone did have more questions on the bioenergetic testing and wanted to, have a deeper conversation with you or learn more about it. Where could they find you, Beth?
Great. Thank you for this conversation, Clarissa.
Yeah.
Well, you could find me at yourhealthwithbeth.com. That's my website. I'm also on the socials at Your Health with Beth.
Oh, cool.
And I have a free quiz. I don't
Oh,
know if it's appropriate to share, but if if there's interest, there's a quiz at bit.ly/Beth quiz, and it'll help you go through your symptoms to see if there's something you should pay attention to. And at the end, you get my insights on how to address them.
oh, that is really cool. Um, it's bit.ly dot what, Beth?
So it's bit.ly
Mhm. Okay.
slash Beth quiz, all smushed together.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have them put it at the bottom of the episode so people can find that as well.
Awesome.
That's really cool. It's very nice of
Awesome.
you to offer that.
Cool.
Was there anything else that we didn't cover or that you wanted to make sure that we talked about this afternoon?
I think we covered a great range of questions, Clarissa. I really enjoyed it. I I guess I would just leave with the thought that your body wants to heal. You
Yeah.
just have to ask questions, listen, and take action.
Yes, absolutely. And you've given our listeners some really great tools to listen to their bodies. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. Thanks for sharing about what you do. It's really cool. Like I said, we've never had a health detective on our show. You're the very first. You're actually the first I've ever met, and I know a lot of people in this space. So thank you. Thank you again for making time to have this conversation today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome.